Fear. Fear is going to tank your AI adoption plan. I mean, most organizations right now are deeply concerned with how competitors are using AI. But the thing they need to be worried about is how their own fear of getting it wrong is going to impact the bottom line. Listen, I completely get it. Every week, literally every week, it seems like the tools are changing, or there's a new update, or the game changer has just dropped. I mean, you could invest in an AI solution that is out of date before the digital ink even dries on the purchase order. And that is terrifying. That's the thing that you really fear. Will you invest in the wrong tech? So, how do we trade that fear for forward momentum? How do we turn this paralysis into progress? I've got 3 tips for you right here. Number one way to turn this paralysis into progress is to name the fear. Now, I know that might seem a little frou-frou for some people, but listen, for leaders, the resistance to AI is not about the technology itself. Most of the time, there's a fear about losing control. There's a fear of a massive disruption in your team if you aren't careful about how you roll things out. And there's a fear of making a very high stakes, expensive mistake that makes you look foolish in front of your boss or in front of your peers. And these aren't irrational feelings. I mean, these are normal. They're the product of a leadership culture that has trained us to mitigate fear, to be risk averse. So you can't solve a problem that you cannot see. That means that the first thing that you need to do is get everyone on your team, whether that's leadership or your internal team, in one room and just ask one simple question. What are we actually afraid of if we happen to get this wrong? If you have a well-defined problem, that is half of the problem solved. So the first thing you do is have to get crystal clear on what the problem is. And listen, if fear feels familiar to you, you are not alone. I actually built out a free AI readiness quiz that helps leaders see exactly where they stand. And the link is in the comments or in the description box. So make sure you check it out. Second thing that you need to do to make sure that you're making progress here is to reframe your fear with data. Y'all, numbers do not lie. So if you are feeling like there's this paralysis going on or the fear is really creeping up, then the number one thing that you can do is take a look at some number, a solid number. Your KPIs, your return, your retention levels, what can you pull out so that you know that there's something tangible attached to this feeling that you have? It's not going to be about personal failing if something doesn't work out. There's going to be a systematic outcome. So that means that we want to connect all of those pieces together. And when we have that critical data about where our organization lacks capacity or lacks clarity or lacks a shared vision, then there's something that we can numerically attach to, and we can measure progress, growth, and outcomes of all of our digital investments in our AI plan. So when you feel that resistance, right, the strategic response isn't to retreat. We're going to get curious and we're going to look for the data. As you're working with your team and you identify that uncertainty, right, the next thing you need to do is say, what specific metrics are we going to use to determine if something is risky? That way we're not sitting in fear of the obstacle or trying to figure out which tech tool to invest in this week that will actually be around next week. We're looking at a specific matrix and solving a targeted problem. And that is key to making sure that we have a strategic plan. All right, the third thing we can do here is replace that fear with a framework. We need to have frameworks. You need a framework. It is impossible to do the job that you're doing and also stay ahead of the AI trends. It is impossible. So when you use a framework, what you're saying is no matter what tech comes down the pipeline, I know that I'm building an infrastructure within my corporation and within my company that can withstand new AI tools without toppling us over. The most potent antidote to this fear isn't courage, it's just clarity. You need clarity, and that's what a good framework provides. I know that you've heard motivational speeches. You've seen the people trying to get you into their funnel that are all talking about, hey, this AI tool can do this and this AI tool can do that. Listen, it's about a process and a system, and you've always known that. When you need to overhaul how your organization works and how they experiment and interact with AI tools as part of their collaboration, you need to know that there's a repeatable process or framework that's going to get you consistent outcomes. That is why a framework is so, so critical. Now, if you're looking for something that you can do right away, think about one non-critical workflow that you can start experimenting with. Maybe it's just summarizing meeting notes or drafting internal announcements. Some task that you can say a small team is going to use a specific AI tool and build their own internal capacity with a concrete framework as a way to replace the fear and see how these tools can impact your internal organization. But remember, having a framework is a key to this process. So this is how you move from being stuck in a report factory to architecting the future within your organization. The single biggest takeaway is this: the antidote to fear of AI isn't more technology. It's a better framework for thinking with a technology tool. And that is how you build the human skills necessary to command the tool with confidence. It's how you get past fear to clarity. And if you want to do that the easiest way possible, then you definitely should take my AI readiness quiz today. You will get a personalized score plus a free guided journal to help you start confident conversations with your team. The link is attached. Now listen, I've told you over and over again, but I'm going to say it one more time. Your team needs a framework to make sure that your AI plan is actually effective. So if you get nothing else from this video, make sure that that is the number one thing that you put on your calendar, on your agenda, on your to-do list. Get the framework so that your team can up level and upskill themselves collectively with your personal organization's mission in mind. All right, y'all. I'm Io Jones. Now go out there and create some belonging.